So we're using some technologies that it is very hot now in the market. So this one is a serious project that I'm doing as my business idea. If the business does not succeed, hopefully as a portfolio project for my offer. The next thing that we're gonna do is the domain-driven design. The way that we are going to use it is more than a microservices, to be honest with you, because to some extent we can say that the final architecture is kind of nano-services. Like the last thing, the entire thing is open source. You are welcome to contribute as we go. Hello guys, actually I'm working on a project for a while now, lots of best practices and so on and so forth. I want to show you this would be more like a demo, but the entire thing would be open source, so you can see how I assemble everything and so on and so forth. So this one, it would be a video series. In the first episode I will just tell you what are the technologies that I'm going to use, what is the objective, what we want to achieve at the end. Okay, so this is the two things that we're doing in the first video. In the next video, I will show you the architecture, so how we assemble everything. The third video onward will be all coding. Yeah, so it would be a fun experience. If you guys interested, please keep watching. So if you guys watching me on the previous videos, I created something for the YouTube, and for example, you can convert the YouTube to the Markdown and so on and so forth. So this one, it was where the idea of the project is come. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm planning to create lots of small tools like this for content creators. So this one, I'm using a plugin system and microservices and so on and so forth. So the project would be quite fancy one. Okay, in general, what we are going to do is that we will going to create a plugin system that can have lots of small backend and front end for content creators. In each plugin, for example, we do a different thing. For example, in one of the plugins that I have already created, for example, you can do the chapter detection, okay, for video, for YouTube. Okay, so this one, if you do YouTube videos, you know that it is a very time consuming thing to do. But for example, on that one, I'm doing some DSP and so on and so forth. And for example, we do, for example, a chapter detection. And after that, for example, caption creation, those kind of things. Actually, there are tools out there that they're doing this, but this one, it would be an open source project. Okay, so you can go see how I'm doing it and so on and so forth. So there would be a lot of small plugins that we're gonna assemble together. But for doing this, I thought that, for example, we can do a very nice portfolio project. I hope that this one will become a business or so on and so forth. But if it didn't become a profitable business, you can consider this one as a portfolio project. So we're using some technologies that it is very hot now in the market. So the first technology that we're using, it would be microservices, and to some extent we can say that the final architecture is kind of nano-services. Like nano-services is not very popular name to use, but the way that we are going to use it is more than a microservices, to be honest with you, because combining the domain-driven design and so on. So later I'm going to show you how the things is assembled. So we use a event-driven design. Okay, so the main pattern that I'm going to use for this one, it would be the request response. Okay, so it means that, for example, the client, for example, asks something, there would be an array of plugin managers, okay, in here, that, for example, you send queue to them, you queue the things inside the event bus queue, and all those plugin managers, they will execute each task one by one. Okay, and for the message bus, we're using RabbitMQ. The next thing that we're gonna do is the domain-driven design. Okay, so if you guys know that I'm very into domain-driven design, and the main thing that we do is that dependency injection. I use a lot of fancy patterns using dependency injection. So I'm going to show you guys that how I'm using those patterns with dependency injection. On the TypeScript, I'm using Inversify. Okay. On the Python side, because this one, it would be multiple I'm using it with multiple languages, those kind of things. So most of the main things that it is fancy and need a lot of dependency injection, this kind of thing, it is on the TypeScript side. So Inversify would be the main guy that who doing the thing. But on the backend side, it means that on the, for example, plugin sides, I'm going to do I haven't fully decided. I'm having few candidates for doing this. Previously, I was using another, for example, dependency injection in Python, but I'm thinking to change. Okay. Yeah, so let's see how it goes. So I will let you guys know to what I'm using for dependency injection in Python later. I have already developed a lot of things in the Python side, but I haven't fully assemble them using dependency injection yet. So there are a lot of services, but they haven't assembled yet as a final application yet. Okay. So this project also is ongoing. It means that I will update you guys as I'm developing it. Okay. So the whole thing is not finished yet fully. So I just finished the TypeScript side. A lot of things in the TypeScript side, how to handle plugin, these kind of things, is not bulletproof yet, and you are welcome to contribute as we go. So it is not like, for example, I'm gonna do this project. You guys can go through the source codes. If you want, you can collaborate with me to make something interesting. So because you can run these things in your premises also, right? So it's an open source thing. On the authentication side, I host the entire, for example, authentication as a key clock. This one is an open source project, because for plugins we do for content creators, right? So you need to access to YouTube, you need to access to Google, those kind of things. So we're using OAuth 2. So I already developed the thing for the OAuth 2. So it means that, for example, through key clock can get, for example, access to Google and those kind of things. However, I haven't decided yet about how to manage it properly, because we want to pass this thing to the plugin side, right? So I haven't architect how to pass it to plugins, okay? Because I have a lot of security concerns regarding to passing the thing to the plugins. And we're using the plugin system. So as mentioned earlier, the main thing about this one is that the event-driven design. So it means that you have a lot of plugin managers, so you can scale the thing. So if you have, for example, more requests, so you can have more plugin manager, and for example, each plugin manager can have a lot of plugins. So that's the reason that I say it's some sort of nano services, because in microservices, for example, you have linearize the thing, and for example, you have many containers, but for example, this one, in each container you can have a small plugin that each of them they doing something. Okay. So because we are plugin system and we are doing microservices, so it is kind of a language agnostic. What does it mean by language agnostic? It means that you can have plugins in TypeScript, in Python, and in the future I'm gonna expand to .NET. And if the project becomes successful and I see that a lot of contributor and the project can make money or something like that, I'm planning to expand to .NET Core and C++. Okay. But so far, all the plugins that I have developed is in Python at this moment. However, I'm thinking I will convert the thing to the TypeScript as well. Okay, there will be a lot of nice patterns over there as well. Okay, later we can see together and we can see. So I do a lot of CI/CD. Everything has CI/CD, so it means that test driven, this kind of thing. So if you want to collaborate, all the tests will be executed and so on and so forth. And please collaborate. So let's see, can this thing take off or not. The last thing, the entire thing is open source. Okay, so you can run the thing. You can take it, you can improve it, you can fork it, you can build something better than the thing that I'm suggesting. Okay, you can run it on your own premises, everything. So this one is a serious project that I'm doing as my business idea. If the business does not succeed, hopefully as a portfolio project for my Upwork. Okay, so worst comes to worst, you can reuse it as your Upwork portfolio, right? Hopefully we see how it goes. If you guys like it, so maybe it's so this one was the first video. In the next video, I'm gonna show you how the things will be assembled overally, and you guys can get a better picture of what's going on. Thank you for watching.